A very good morning to the honorable judges, teachers and my fellow friends. I'm YOHANES and I'm from SJK Cheng Siu. The book I would like to talk about today is the famous Animal Farm by George Orwell. The book was first published by George Orwell on 17 August 1945 after World War II and became a bestseller when it was first released. It contains 118 pages, 29,000 words and 10 chapters. The book tells the story of a farm somewhere in England run by an alcoholic farmer called Mr. Jones. One night, an old hog by the name of Old Major gives a speech calling on the farm animals to rise up against the tyranny of their human masters. Shortly after he dies, two young porkers by the name of Snowball and Napoleon assume control and revolt against Mr. Jones, chasing him off the farm and renaming it Animal Farm. The swine first introduced the 7 commandments of animalism, the most important rule being all animals are equal. Then follows a series of events that lead to the porkers becoming more and more powerful and the conditions of the animals becoming almost exactly like how they were under their human masters, if not worse. The 7 rules are then reduced to one rule, which states, all animals are equal, but some animals are more equal than others. The story ends when the hogs are in complete control of the farm, but start to act like the very humans they had kicked out previously, and the animals on the farm are not even able to distinguish between the two. George Orwell wrote this story to warn the British people not to be taken in by the leader of Russia, Joseph Stalin. At the time of writing, World War II was still ongoing and England needed help of Russia. But Orwell wanted to document the rise of Stalin and show how he was no different from the previous dictator, Tsar Nicholas II. I like this story because it contains important historical elements that make easy to understand because it involves simple farm animals. Because Orwell lived through these events, one can also learn a lot about history, especially the rise of communism in Russia and how it became dominant. Yet the book shows clearly that human greed and selfishness will ultimately be our own downfall. Even though communism was built by Karl Marx with good intentions, it has not fully lived up to the promises of its founders. Instead, communism has become another form of tyranny and oppression, which is also highlighted in the story. The book is written in simple English and is easy to understand to the average reader. I hear that children in secondary schools in the past also used to study as a literary text to be warned of the dangers of communism. And that is also an indicator of how important the book still is. But unless one knows the historical basis of many of these events, the various twists in the story can seem strange or unexplainable to the average reader. But with a bit of guidance, I have come to realize that the central message the authors wanted to convey is to show in vivid form that communism is no better than any other political system and has really made me think deeply and carefully about human nature. The book is fairly short, but it contains important observations about human nature. I have learned that humans are easily manipulated and deceived, and that we need to be careful who we listen to. But there's still some hope too. The book shows us that in spite of the hardships and difficulties we face, there will always be loyal friends like Benjamin the donkey, who, although skeptical of the whole endeavor, sticks with Boxer the horse through the entire time. If we look hard enough, we might be able to see that there is always a silver lining to every cloud. I highly recommend anyone who's interested in history and politics to read it, and it can be obtained at any bookstore within a reasonable price of 20 to 40 ringgit Malaysian. Thank you for listening.